Hello everybody, I am Sreya and I am a legal and GK associate at Abhyaas. Today we'll be discussing the current affairs CLAT 2022 paper. Right, before we start, I'll give you a good estimate. A good paper I think should be able to score, you should be able to score around or above 110. For this specific section, say current affairs, a score of somewhere around 25 to 27 would be good. Okay, now let us look at each of the passages and discuss the answers. Right, so now if we look at passage 1, let me just bring in the pen. One of the justifications of the Russia-Ukraine war, I think this was one of the most anticipated passages in the entire GK and current affairs section. Thankfully, the entire passage had very simple questions, they're very straightforward, mostly were static and slightly current. Even if you wouldn't know, you could guess it, right? One of the justifications of Russian-Ukraine war, Russian leader claimed that military action was necessary to stop Ukrainian attacks on the two breakaway regions of Donetsk and Luhansk, which Russia recognized as sovereign states. President of Russia claimed that Russia could come under attack by Ukrainian war far-right government unless their influence in the country is diminished. He accused Western nations of arming Kyiv against Russia. After being ordered by Russia's leaders to invade the capital of Ukraine, Russia's troops moved in several directions. As the first targets were hit, airports and the military headquarters were located near cities across Ukraine. Then tanks and troops rolled into the country from the north, east and the south. The war has demolished most of the cities of the Ukraine and caused irreparable damage to the humanity. Right? Now let us look at the passage, the next questions that we've had. Ukraine was part of which country during 1922 to 1991? Now here the answer is very simple. The answer is D. It is USSR, right? Clearly that is why the entire region, the reason why Russia has been so active into trying to take Ukraine back, because it believes in the concept of unity, right? It is thinking of a pre-historic time where Russia was a united front as a USSR, right? So the answer to this is D. Let's look at the next question. Now, who is the president of Ukraine? Now, this is also very simple answer, provided all of you had paid attention to the spelling, right? So all of the four questions are only different with respect to the spelling. Either it is Vladimir or it is Volodymyr. Right, so the answer for 32nd one is A, it is Volodymyr Zelensky. And along with this, we can eliminate option D and B. The only thing that's left is A or C. There is no S in his name, so therefore the answer for 32 is A. Okay, it is a very simple, straightforward question. Now let's look at the second one. Which is the currency of Ukraine, right? I think this would be something this is a static question. This would be slightly difficult probably if you haven't been paying too much attention, but this could also work as, in a way, you could start eliminating questions, right? You could obviously eliminate C. The only thing that's left is A, B and B. The most applicable answer is D. It is Hryvnia. Right, the answer to 33 is Hryvnia. Okay. Let's look at the next question. Now, the president of Ukraine was formerly we have four options: weather forecaster, navy officer, TV news reader and comedian. If you've been paying good attention, the answer is very simple. It is C, comedian. 34th one answer is C, comedian. Right? of the operations was launched by the Indian government to bring back Indians from Ukraine during Russia-Ukraine war? If you all remember, during the time we had a lot of people coming back, there was a lot of chaos, and Indians were trying to reach out to the embassy, trying to come back. The answer to this is B, Operation Ganga. 35 is answer B, Operation Ganga. I think with this we finished the first passage that we've had, which is the third passage. This is the second passage with respect to the main key. Okay, now let's look at the second passage. Where is this? Now, with the second passage that we have, the announcement of Drone Shakti, right? Drone Shakti in the union budget, the industry got a massive push after the liberalization of the drone rules in 2021. The government started the startups will be promoted to facilitate Drone Shakti with drone as a service. The current government has taken a serious paradigm shift on drone technology, and Drone Shakti announcement of the current financial year budget proves the government's clear vision and focus towards this emerging industry. Drone Shakti and Kisan drones will definitely help get this technology to impact common people on grassroots level at a massive scale. According to the founder and CEO of a prominent aerospace quoted in a business magazine, the country is set to witness the use of large unmanned aircraft systems weighing more than 150 kilograms across the sectors. Kisan drones are already being used to crop assessments, land records, spraying of insecticides, and expect to boost a wave of technology in the agri and farming sector. Drones are being used in surveillance systems for railway security. In India, drones were being deployed to deliver COVID-19 vaccines. Right? This has been very relevant, I think, even with respect to recent Telangana government planning on sending or using drones to send vaccinations. Right? That was also part of the scheme that we've had. So this passage is also relevant. Let us look at the questions that have been given. Now, the first question that we have over here is, COVID-19 vaccines were delivered by drones as ICMR-led pilot project 2. We have A, B, C and D. The answer is D, Manipur, right? This is a very simple answer. Ladakh, probably it's either Ladakh or Manipur. Dantewadi and Katra have not been in the news, but Ladakh was also been there. But ICMR-led pilot project was first started in Manipur. So 36th answer is D. Now let's look at the next question. In the next question, which of the following is the online platform hosted by the Director General of Civil Aviation for various activities related to the management of drone activities in India? Now this is very simple. The answer is B, Digital Sky Platform. Why? I think with respect to the one that I was mentioning, the Telangana cause as well, we've had this being mentioned in that, which was the Digital Sky Platform, right? 37th one is answer B. Let's go to the next one. Which of the following refers to the phenomena of restricting the movement of drones within a defined airspace? Right? Now this, even if you do not know the answer, I think by logically speaking, the answer should be A, geofencing, right? We are geographically trying to limit the movement of the drones. It is not drone fencing, it is not air fencing, it cannot be sky fencing. The obvious answer is geofencing. Okay, 38 is A. Let's go to the next one. 39th one that we have over here. The drone rules 2021 have been made in supersession. My bad. The drone rules 2021 have been made in supersession of which of the following rules? Right? Which of the following rules come with respect to this? Obviously, it cannot be B, it cannot be D. Now we have two options over here: Unmanned Aircraft System Rules 2020 and Unmanned Aircraft Rules 2021. Here, I think if you had paid a little more attention to the years, you should be able to answer this. The answer is C, Unmanned Aircraft System Rules 2021. Okay. Now, let's go to the third passage that we have. Now, this passage is on AFSPA. I think AFSPA is also a pretty well-known topic, current topic. We've been discussing about it with the recent government trying to reduce the restrictions or try to reduce the intensity of AFSPA in Manipur regions. This has been in the news, so this is relevant. It is familiar. Luckily, the questions with respect to this were also very simple. Let us look at the passage once. Right? On December 26, 2021, for the first time since the present government came to power in 2014, the Union Home Ministry constituted a panel led by its officers to review the withdrawal of the armed areas. The Act was amended in 1972 and the powers to declare an area as disturbed were conferred concurrently upon the central government along with the states. Currently, the MHA issues periodic disturbed area notification to extend AFSPA only to Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh, where it is applicable in the districts of Tirap, Changalang, Longding and areas falling under Namsai and Mahadevpur police stations bordering Assam. The notification for Manipur and Assam is issued by the state governments. Tripura revoked the Act in 2015 and Meghalaya was under AFSPA for 27 years. Until it was revoked by the MHA from April 1st, 2018. The Act was implemented in a 20-kilometer area along with the border with Assam and Jammu Kashmir, has a separate J&K Armed Forces Special Powers Act 1990. Now if you paid good attention, the questions that have come have been a little passage based itself. Let us see the questions. Now, in the 41st question that we've had, right, if you look into this, the power to notify areas of or the whole of a state or a union territory as a disturbed area under the Armed Forces Special Powers Act 1958 is vested with, we have option A, governor of any state, option B, administrator of a union territory, option C, central government, and the 41st one, D, all of the above. So the answer to all of this is D, all of the above, because we have the governor, the administrator and the central government. All three of these have the power to notify any area as a disturbed area. Correct? So the answer 41 is D. Simple. Let's go to the next one. AFSPA was introduced in Meghalaya in which year? If you've paid good attention to the passage, it's already been given as 27 years and they've also given you the date from which it has been applied, right? For the month. So if you do basic math, it will be C 1991. So the answer to 42nd is C 1991, right? That was a very simple answer. Based on the passage itself, you can deduce that, right? Let's look at the next question. The 43rd one. Consider the following statements about the Armed Forces Act and mark the correct answer. Right? Detractors and human rights organizations as well as many sections of civil society argue that the Act often led to excess and require checks and balances or could alienate the people instead of integrating them with the mainstream. Iram Chanu Sharmila, an activist from Manipur, became a sensitizing figure symbolizing the protest against AFSPA, and after she sat on an indefinite fast in 2000 demanding its repeal and ended it only in August 2016. Right? Obviously this is very, very simple. Both A and B are simple right answers. So the best answer for this will be C, both A and B. Right? Very simple. Let's check the next one. 44th. In 2005, a government appointed 5-member committee recommended that AFSPA be repealed. It suggested that the unlawful activities could be suitably amended to deal with terrorism. It made this recommendation as it felt that the AFSPA created an impression that the people of the northeast states were being targeted for hostile treatment. Who headed this committee? This had been several times as well. Clearly it is not D, it can't be B, it can't be C. The answer is BP Jeevan Reddy. 44th is A. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This was also fairly straightforward. This is one of my favorite questions, very simple. If you have looked at the passage, all of this was already mentioned in the passage. So the answer to this 45, AFSPA is currently in force in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Jammu and Kashmir. The answer for this is all of the above. It's a no-brainer, very simple. Answer to 45th one is C. Sorry, D, all of the above. Now, this is on the Sagar vision. Okay, my bad, I'll just clear this. Oh. Now, this question passage is on the Sagar mission that we've had. The 21st century has seen an overall shift in India's policy outlook and also the global outlook towards India. Coherent policy initiatives and effective implementation on ground have ensured a positive growth profile. The biggest shift has been the recognition of the maritime sector. Somehow, post-independence, we as a nation became sea blind and completely undermined our maritime potential. Initially, the Indian Navy came out with their military maritime strategy in 2007 titled Freedom to Use the Seas. They kept on upgrading their vision document on regular intervals, with latest being declared in 2015. The security and growth for all in the region, that is the Sagar vision, declared by the Government of India in May 2015, has been a massive game changer on multiple fronts. It integrates the geopolitical and geostrategic realities to domestic requirements. The security concern and the blue economic opportunities are comprehensively addressed, along with the diplomatic leverage and reviving the rich maritime heritage. The Sagar vision has been backed by aggressive push by the Government of India to drive mega projects with massive human resource requirements. Now let's look at the questions. Now this isn't very relevant or very relevant in the news. You probably haven't seen it several times as much as you have seen the Russia and Ukraine war, but with respect to even the Sri Lankan issue, the Sagar vision also will come into picture. Let's look at the questions. Right? Now, which of the following is the flagship program of the Ministry of Shipping, Government of India, to promote port-led development in the country through harnessing India's 7,500 kilometer long coastline, 14,500 kilometers of potentially navigable waterways and strategic location on key international maritime trade routes? Right? Now the answer to this is A, Sagarmala program. I think all of you must have heard of this several times. 46th answer is A, Sagarmala program. Okay. The second one that we have, 47th one, right? Which of the following is the initiative of the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India, to explore maritime resources and develop deep sea technologies for sustainable use of ocean resources? Now this is a static question. The answer to this is C, Deep Sea Mission, Deep Ocean Mission. 47th one is C, Deep Ocean Mission. Now 48th one. What is the answer for the 48th one? ISA. They've asked you what is the full form of ISA. ISA is a United Nations body regulating the exploration and exploitation of marine non-living resources of oceans in international waters. Now what does ISA stand for? So the question is, what does ISA stand for, right? The answer is very simple. It is your International Sea Association, right? So 48th one is B. So if you look at the answer for the 48th one, I'm sorry, it is not B, it is D, International Seabed Authority, right? Sea Association, Sea Authority, Seafaring Associations, all of this do not stand for ISA. It is the International Seabed Authority, right? And if you look at it, it's talking about non-living resources on ocean international waters. Obviously, it will be on the seabed. So the answer to this is D, International Seabed Authority. Okay, now let's look at the next question that we have. 49. Let me just erase this. So 49th one, under Mission SAGAR, which Indian naval ship was deployed by the Indian Navy to provide humanitarian and medical assistance to Maldives, Mauritius, Seychelles, Madagascar and Comoros? Right, the answer to this is A, INS Kesari. Right, 49 is INS Kesari. Let's go to the next one. 50. Quickly erase this. Which of the following is India's first manned ocean mission which was launched in Chennai? Right? What is the answer to the 51? It is B, it is Samudrayan. Answer to 50 is B, Samudrayan. It's not Sagar Shakti or Sagaryan. It could be answered either Samudra Shakti or Samudrayan. So the answer to this is B, Samudrayan. Okay. Now let's look at the fifth passage that we have. When we hear the name space, only one organization comes to mind, the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. Now the Indian Space Research Organization, located in Bengaluru, is India's first space agency. ISRO was founded in 1969, and the goal of developing and utilizing space technology for national development while also conducting planetary exploration and space science research. The space research operations began in India in the early 1960s at a time when satellite applications were still in the experimental stages in the United States. Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the founding father of India's space program, rapidly recognized the benefits of space technology after the live transmission of the Tokyo Olympic Games across the Pacific by the American satellite SYNCOM-3 demonstrated the power of the communication satellites. The ISRO has launched various spacecrafts like the Chandrayaan, Aerostat, Microsat, GSAT, etc. The Government of India has also approved a regional space-prone navigation system which will consist of 7 satellites. Out of these, 4 of them will be placed in geosynchronous inclined orbit of 29 degrees relative to equatorial plane. Such an arrangement would mean all 7 satellites would have continuous radio visibility with Indian control stations. Right? Now with this, let's look at the questions that we have. This passage, I feel, with respect to space that we've had, have been slightly very technical, has been a very difficult passage. I think this passage, I would say, was a difficult passage, right? If you look at the questions as well, they've been very, very detail oriented. Name the first dedicated mission launched by ISRO for studying the celestial sources in X-ray, optical and UV spectrum bands simultaneously. The answer to this is B, Astrostat, right? 51 is B, Astrostat. This is slightly very technical. Let's look at the second one. Here, the question that came into picture was Apple. The first communication satellite of ISRO was launched from. So usually everybody, because it's ISRO, would obviously believe that it would be somewhere from India, so Sriharikota or Trivandrum or Tamil Nadu. But the answer to this is C, Corau or French Guiana. Right, the answer to 52nd is C. This is also a static question. Now, 53rd one is a very difficult question. I think it's very, very technical. I'm not sure if all of us would know about this. Name the spacecraft that has been successfully sent into space to probe planets in the solar system, right? Sputnik cannot be the answer. Cosmos will not be the answer. It could either be Pioneer or Mariner. Sputnik and Cosmos was very relevant to Venus, right? But Pioneer and Mariner was for generally to probe, but this was unsuccessful mission, and Mariner 10 was the successful mission. So the answer to 53 is D. Okay, let's look at the next question that we have. Now, the 54th question that we have. The first successful nuclear bomb test conducted in India in 1974 is called the, I think this is the only static GK question which is simple and easy that can be attempted. It's a good question to attempt. 54th question is C. The answer is C. It is Smiling Buddha, right? 54th one is C, Smiling Buddha. Let's now look at the 55th question, the last question in this passage. This is also a highly technical question that has been given. Now they've asked, Navi Sea covers India and region extending. Answer to this is A. It is 1500 kilometers. Okay. Now let's go to the next passage that we have. Now this passage is on your patents. This is on patents and green technology. This is also slightly challenging passage because it's not very familiar, the concept, but let's look at the questions. Every second patent granted in India between 2016 and 2021 is related to green technology, and a quarter of the green technology patents are concerning alternative energy production. Coinciding with the centre's efforts on enhanced use of green technology for boosting economy and encouraging consumers to use products produced through use of such technology, data from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry shows that more than 91,500 patents were granted between 2016 and 17 and 2020 and 21, while the data for 2021-22 was not immediately available. However, going by the trend in the past 2 years, India is expected to clear at least 25,000 more applications this year. Separate data from the ministry shows that between 2016 and 17 and 21 to 22, 61,187 patents related to green technologies have been granted in the said period. Of these, 90% of the technologies concerning waste management and alternative energy production, 38,837 or 36% of them are related to waste management, and more than 16,000 are for alternative energy production. The rest of the green technology patent share for energy conservation, transportation technology, nuclear power generation, agriculture and forestry, and others. Right? A pretty detailed passage. Let us look at the questions. Right? Now in this, with which country India entered into a green strategic partnership in September 2020? Right? This is a current affairs question, very specific. The answer is C, Denmark. Right? It's not Poland, Greece, South Korea. The answer is C, Denmark. Let's look at the next question that we have, which is the 57th question. Now, with respect to this, in pursuance of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDG), India aims to be energy independent by the year. Answer is A, 2047. I think with the respect to coal crisis and all the other environmental causes that I've been talking about, I think the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals have definitely come time and again in different contexts. So this question is relevant. 57th one, A, 2047 is the answer. Okay. Next, 58th one that we have over here. According to the Global Innovation Index 2021 published by the World Intellectual Property Organization, ranked in India out of 132 countries. Now this is very difficult because if you look at the options, they are also very, very close. So this is a difficult question. 58th one, the answer is B. It is 46th one. Okay. Let's go to the next one. 59. What is the 59th question? Let me just remove this quickly. Right. 59th one. In Jan 2022, the Union Cabinet approved the second phase of the Green Energy Corridor, in India, with the objective to facilitate. Right. Now this is slightly simple. If you look at the answers or options that are there: grid integration and power evacuation of renewable energy power projects in 7 states, ecologically sustainable growth by increasing carbon footprint, ecologically sustainable production of fossil fuels, spreading awareness regarding renewable energy. Now here we are talking about a green energy corridor, so logically thinking the answer will also be A. The answer to this is grid integration and power evacuation of renewable energy in the 7 states. 59 is A. Let's look at the next question that we have. Let me quickly erase this. Next question that we have. The IRENA is an intergovernmental organization that supports countries in their transition to a sustainable energy future and serves as a principal platform for international cooperation as renewable energy. IRENA stands for, right? This is also a very simple answer. The answer is D, International Renewable Energy Agency, right? Very simple. 60 is D. Now, the 7th passage, the last passage that we have, is on COVID. Clearly, I think the most anticipated questions or passages this year was COVID and your Russia and Ukraine, and both of them have been given. Let us look at the passage. The government may defer the deadline for companies to deposit the unspent portion of their corporate social responsibility funds into specified bank accounts in a move aimed to providing some relief to fight against the COVID-19 and subsequent restrictions. Companies are required to spend at least 2% of their average net profit of the preceding within 3 financial years on CSR. The ministry has allowed firms to undertake projects on an ongoing basis on the condition that any unspent amount must be deposited with a scheduled bank within 30 days of the end of the financial year. Considering the current crisis, we request your esteemed office to consider relaxation by providing extension of the timelines up to June 30, 2021. The Institute of Company Secretaries of India said in a letter to the ministry. Experts said that while lockdown and restrictions are less stringent than last year and companies have adapted to working online, many professionals or their families have been affected by the infection, leaving team short staff. Right? It's on corporate social responsibility and COVID. Let's look at the questions that we have. Now, this question is simple. I feel slightly simple because even if you do not know the answer, right, I feel like this is something you'd be able to deduce. For example, excuse me, please excuse me. Right, so if you look at the 61st one, which of the following is the corporate social responsibility initiative of the erstwhile Facebook India to promote women in entrepreneurship? Now, if you look at it logically, obviously if it's in India and it's by Facebook, it should have a Hindi terminology, right? So it can't be C or D, it must be either A or B. The answer is B, Pragati. Right, 61 is B, Pragati. Next, look at 62nd one. In 2019, which of the following committees recommended that CSR expenditure should be made tax deductible expenditure? Right, now this is on B, High Level Committee of Reform of Indian Company Law. The answer to the 62nd one, in 2019, which of the following committees recommended the CSR expenditure should be made tax deductible? The answer is, my bad, it's not B, it is C, it is High Level Committee. The answer is C. It is High Level Committee on Corporate Social Responsibility, right? Here they're talking about CSR expenditure, right? It is the High Level Committee. The answer is either B or C. It is C because it's on corporate social responsibility, right? Good. Now let's go to the next one that we have. The Kavach program that we have. The Kavach is an initiative by the National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, stands for. This is very clear. If you even look, we are talking about war and COVID-19 situation. So the answer to this is C, Center for Augmenting War and COVID-19 Healthcare Crisis, because these are both of the most relevant topics. Even if you do not know the answer, you should be able to get it through elimination. 53rd is C. Okay, now let's go to the next question that we have. On Jan 2021, on Jan 22nd, 2021, the company's corporate social responsibility policy amendment rules 2021 were notified by the. Obviously, this is very simple. We are talking about corporate, we are talking about companies. It has to be Ministry of Corporate. 64 is D. This is static. It is very simple. Answer to 64 is D. Now let's look at the next question that we have. 65. Now, this is the last question that we have. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs has instituted an award to select companies to recognize corporate initiatives in the area of corporate social responsibility to achieve inclusive growth and inclusive and sustainable development. The name of the award is, this is very simple. What is the name of the award of the 65th one, Corporate Affairs Social Responsibility Award? What is the answer for 65th one? The answer to that is A. It's the National Corporate Social Responsibility Award. It's very simple, right? As you can see, I think we've reached the end of the questions with respect to current affairs. With this, I think we'll be able to know how many we've done right, how many we've done wrong. As I've already stated earlier, a good score would be somewhere around 25 to 27, right? The paper or difficulty in general, as I think, would be a medium. It is not very simple, it's not very easy. Although we've had 2 easy passages, we've had 1 difficult passage, the other ones are medium because of the options that have been available. Otherwise, they've been fairly familiar concepts. So I think if you've done a score somewhere in between 25 to 27, you should be good to go. For more details for the entire section, the entire paper analysis, I request you to please look into our other video that was made by our director, Sir Mr. Naresh. He has done an entire video on the paper and difficulty, and has spoken about the entire sections in which would be a good score on each of them. So if you'd like to see a little more and understand your performance, please do look into that. Thank you once again. All the best.